Hello everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In this video lesson, I'm going to be answering a question. I was asked about an alternative way to make a Caucasian portrait color because the young lady I was speaking with didn't have Napthol Red Light. So she is working with oils, and the oils that she's using cadmium red light, which it's a toxic paint. Toxic by ingesting the dust, not so much by skin, but she really wanted to practice a little bit with acrylics, first of all because it's a lot less expensive. When you're talking cad red light in oils, or even the cad red light, pure cad red light in acrylics, you're talking into the double digits for prices, mid-range double digits. So but she didn't have Napthol Red Light. She had Napthol Red. So I'm going to be doing an experiment with this one here just to basically show her. And then to show you as well that you can get around. You do not have to get the perfect paint. You don't have to, look for the perfect mixture. Done is better than perfect. Okay, so just experiment with it. And if you don't do the experiments, how are you ever going to learn? The other thing I'm going to be experimenting with is I'm not going to be cleaning my brush. I'm going to be using it dry. Unprimed surface. So what I've got is the DecoArt Traditions Napthol Red Light, Paranone Orange, Yellow Oxide, and Opaque Titanium White. These are in my standard set of palette colors, not so much the Napthol Red. I have that kind of like behind. It's alizarin crimson and Napthol Red Light, which are my core colors. Napthol Red is a neutral. It's right in between. This is the red that leans towards blue, a red that leans towards orange. This is kind of in the middle. So what we're going to do is, for a typical Caucasian skin tone, and skin tones are all different. Okay, there is no perfect mixture. If you look up how to mix up skin tones, you're going to do a Google search, you're going to come up with, 50,000 different results. So it's based on what you like. So I'm going to show you my way, and then you can experiment and see if it's something that you want to do. Well, what if you don't like portraits? It doesn't matter. Take this as a color mixing experiment. You say, well, I already know all this. Well, ask yourself the question, what can I learn from this? Okay, so that's my teacher vent for the day. So I'm going to take some opaque titanium white, and for the record, right now it's minus 22 outside with the wind chill up on the mountain. The furnace hasn't stopped. I added some extender for a previous video, and then I'm reusing these paints. I took the Traditions extender, added it to the Napthol Red, Paranone Orange, and Yellow Oxide. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to make a base skin tone, typically how I make it. And you use a lot of white with this. And you see how I'm kind of moving the mixture around? And what I'm doing is I'm naturally creating my values. And then you get all these different mixtures. And I could already see that this is starting to dry, because there's no extender in the white, and we had to use a lot more white. So depending on the mixture that you want to use, you can make it more red, you can make it more yellow. Now this is just a basic mixture. You then would, neutralize it with using greens and blues and all that stuff. Okay, yeah, it's drying really fast. So that's a typical mixture using Napthol Red Light. Okay, so you take titanium white, so a basic portrait mixture. So you're going to take titanium white plus a touch of Napthol Red Light and Yellow Oxide. And then you just judge your mixture that way. So what I like to do is now take a Napthol Red, which more neutral red, but we need to make it a bit more orange because Napthol Red Light leans towards orange. So I'm going to start first with the Yellow Oxide. So let's start with that first. And then depending if the skin is more yellow, then you just add more of the Yellow Oxide. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Napthol Red, and you don't need a lot. It goes far. I can already see this leans a bit more towards the blue. The problem with if you took like a alizarin crimson, because alizarin crimson leans towards blue, what's going to happen when you mix it with yellow? It's going to turn green. Now I'm going to take a little bit of orange. Oh, Joe's home. Oh, it looks almost the same. It's almost the same. Now that's really pink. So what do? It's not so much really pink, it's too dark. So don't forget to ask yourself those questions. Is it too light, too dark? Where does it sit on the color wheel? And is it dull? And is it intense? And if you haven't got a clue what I just talked about, in the private Facebook group that I'm running a free color mixing course and challenge where you can learn about all of that. If you want to make the face a little bit more ruddy, just add a little bit more red. You want to make it a bit more yellow, add a bit more of the yellow oxide. Haven't even cleaned my brush yet. You don't need to, because going through that color mixing course and challenge, you'll know that what the colors work together, and because you're not working with any colors that don't work together, you're not going to get mud. All right, so we have a wide variety there, and you can see that, not because I didn't have the actual right red that leans towards orange, I was able to make it myself. Now, will this work for everybody? Of course not, because not all of you have the paints that I'm using. So, but even if you do have the paints that I'm using, you're going to load the paints in different quantities. You might be a little bit heavier handed. You may use a flat brush. You may use a liner brush. It doesn't matter. So the only way to really master making alternative mixtures for portrait colors is for you to actually try it. Okay, so this is the same. So this is titanium white plus then touch of Napthol red, Peridot orange, and yellow oxide. Simple. So take the color mixing course and challenge to learn where the colors sit on the color wheel and how to add the colors, mix them together to get the colors that you want. That way you don't have to have 300 tubes of paint. You can get away with having depending on what you're painting, you can have between, as little as 6 paints, up to maybe 15, depending on what you want to paint. Alrighty, so I would love to, if you have any questions, post them in the comments below, and I would love to see your mixtures using the paints that you have. So create this experiment. So taking the typical colors that you would use to mix a portrait, and then use a different red to do the same thing. Paint your swatches, and then write down exactly what you used, including the brand. That way, if a beginner is using the same paints, they can follow your example to see the colors that they would get. And post the pictures below just so we can see what you've done. Alrighty, so hope you enjoyed this, and if you have any questions, let me know. So until I see you in the next lesson, stay inspired.